Okay, so I was just sharing the link. Move it back a little. Bend my leg. So, hi. We're live on YouTube. Yes, YouTube. Pleased to be live. So I can't really consistently make Thursday at 6 p.m. So I'm just kind of doing it when I can. If you subscribe to my channel and press the notifications button, I'm assuming you can get notified when I go live. Otherwise, you'll just have to keep checking, because I'm not going to be doing it on Thursday at 6, most probably consistently. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I haven't got a title at the moment, but I'm sure one will come up as we speak about this. Hopefully the lighting is okay. So so this isn't owned. want to like bounce and flap, but I can't move too much because of the bed and the camera and the laptop and the light. I think that's better. Yeah. my son my son types really loud. I can hear it from here. It's really loud. So I was at a talk. This was years ago now. I was at a talk, and it was being translated into French, and there was a long pause, and then the French speaker went, "Donk." Donk means like so. I'm assuming donk. It was just so funny. It was just so funny. Donk. It just reminded me of that. So. So. Donkey donk. Donkey. So what what this subject, non-duality or awakening, is, what seems to happen is there is a journey that takes place, this journey in time, in thought, back to back to this, back to the actual experience. So there seems to be this journey that takes place, this returning journey back to the actual experience. That seems to be what waking up is. It's a mental, energetic journey, emotional, mental, energetic journey back to what is actually happening. Yeah. And so with that as the reference, as the background framework, when speaking about this subject, we're talking about pointing to what's actually happening, this isness, this aliveness, this presence of what's actually happening, this empty stillness, this fullness. But we're also talking about the seeming story that happened, the unfolding, the story of disintegration that seems to happen as well. So it's this kind of like two tier, or two not two levels, but like two part thing, where we're pointing to this absolute freedom, this absolute nothing happening, and also talking about and describing this seeming unfolding that happens in the storyland, in dream, in thought, the seeming experience that unfolds. That's why probably like questions, the answers are usually kind of twofold. They're acknowledging the feelings, the stories, the perspective of the person. They're acknowledging the way, yeah, the experience of that, and the perception of that. And then at the same time, it's also radically pointing out that what that is, the dream of that, the thought of that, the idea of that, the concept of that, and pointing to the actual experience, what's actually happening beyond the thought, beyond thinking, beyond the interpretation and perspective and perceptions of it. Yeah, so that's kind of how I would describe non-duality. It's a radical pointing to this moment, this freedom, this instant, this happening, this emptiness, this stillness, this fullness, this aliveness. But it also has room for elaborating on the perception of separateness and the perception also of being human and having thoughts. That thoughts are part of being human, so there's room to discuss and explore that aspect of things, that experience of being human, within the context of this radical freedom, this radical peace, this radical not of this world, not of this human world of concepts and language. One and one equals two working together. Yeah, so you're welcome to ask any questions in the chat. Sorry, I didn't put on Zoom today. I forgot to put Zoom on. But I'll try and do a Zoom once a month or something. If you'd like to also come on the screen and speak, I'll make room for that as well. But for now, you're welcome to subscribe if you're subscribed and write into the chat anything you want to ask or express. I'll just speak about the title was "This Isn't Owned." Is that correct? This isn't owned. I think it was. I'll just speak a bit more while. Yeah. So from the perspective of separation, from the perspective of being someone separate, being this individual person, being that thought stream of I, of me, of the narrative or the narration, from being that it is suffering, from being identified as that is suffering. It is really suffering in humans to identify as that narrative, as that main character. It is suffering. And so from that perspective, you feel obviously real, you feel real, and you feel like you therefore can own, and you are in charge, and you are therefore responsible. And it's so pressured to live as that. It's so heavy and so pressured to live as that. We see it in children, the freedom that the children are, because they don't yet have that heavy burden of being someone, that responsibility of being someone. Obviously, they don't have responsibility in general, because they, you know, there is that they're a child, so the parents are the ones who have to do all the work. So there is that lightness from that as well. But there's just that that naturalness there. Where there's no feeling of being owned, of owning, or even being owned. I remember that as a child, actually. Like, well, part of it's to do with the way I interpreted the parental figure, but I had this feeling of, you aren't my parent, like knowing that, like, you aren't, like, you are my parent. So yeah, so identifying as that owner, that driver, the one responsible, that central figure, is suffering. And so to rediscover that central character, that central narrative isn't who you are. That isn't who you are. Like this celebration of that movement back to what you are, rather than this stepping out, like stepping out into this, into that, into this. Like this coming back, this revealing back of, this stripping back of this simplicity, of this simplicity of being, this simplicity of aliveness, this it isness, this not a thingness. It's such a joy. It's such a it's such a joy. You've got a pet or something, you look at them and there's just such that, it's not even a joy, there's just such this non confusion, this non boundedness. Just this total beingness. This total beingness that isn't wrapped up in anything. Just this total beingness. You say, oh, that's beingness being a cat, or that's, I have a cat, so it's a cat, but that beingness being a cat, or that beingness being a tree, or that beingness being a child, or that beingness being a bed, and we say it's wrapped up in that body, but actually it's not even wrapped up in the body. It's free. It's not bound to any form or anything. So we often like make beingness, like shrink it down into that form, into that body, into that human or that animal or whatever, but it really isn't. It really isn't. It's so miraculous how us humans do that, how that happens, where we project it into this smallness. Yeah, so non-duality isn't this big thing out there. Like it's a real coming back down to this simplicity. It's coming back down. Just check the chat for any questions or anything. No. Let's give it a few minutes and then oh, my feet are cold. Oh, winter is coming. Oh, I get so cold. Oh, oh. Okay, so yeah, thank you for joining the stream. Yeah, I'll try to do this every week. I can't say what day or what time, but I will make sure to do something every week. Big desires leads to suffering. Big desires, small desires. But I don't know. I don't think desires themselves lead to suffering. It's more like the attachment to desires. And desire can also mean like to desire to get rid of something as well, not just wanting something, but to want to get rid of something is also a desire. That resistance of what is, like it is suffering. And it feels like the desire, this isn't always the case, but the desire, it feels like the seeking, it feels like it stems out of suffering. Like the seeking is the suffering, and it's usually about resisting something that is, not wanting something that is. Yeah, it's complicated. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's like I can't describe it in a like a logical way. I'd have to write about it and like rearrange it. But like uh, um, it's it's like, yeah, it's just that attachment to that energy that's resisting what is, and then it's seeking something else. As it's resisting this, it's wanting something else, and that whole thing is suffering. It's suffering. Like this buying into and this believing and this holding on to an attachment to that is suffering. Like there can be desire, or there can be a not wanting something, which is fine in a way, but it's this attachment to it, this like identifying with it and this attachment to it, that is important, and that is who I am. Like I am that uncomfortability with what's happening, and therefore the seekings happen to get out of it. Yeah. So sorry that isn't very clear, but about worship versus reverence. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know. I'm not sure what that means, but what is wanted, what I do know, what is wanted is this, like this, like what is, and you could describe that as wanting peace or freedom or love, but it simply is what is. It's not. It's not wanting that uncomfortableness of seeking, that uncomfortableness of being someone. Because being someone means seeking in a way. It means this attachment to time, attachment to thinking, to thoughts and ideas. So what is wanted is the end of that, which is here. It's this. The end of it is right here, available. It's free. But there's just this over-identification, attachment, and interest in the personal, in the thoughts, in the personal world of me and my and I and my life and what's happening to me. So what is wanted is here. It can only be here. And this is what is pointed to. This is what is pointed to. Oh, lovely. Thank you, Patrick, for that question. It was just, yeah, it ended it quite nicely. Nice wrap up to the stream. Yeah, really beautiful to yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Very lovely to do the stream. Lots of love, and I shall see you next time. Bye.